Alright, welcome to a Lowkick and Velleas tutorial. Basically what we're going to be doing here today is I'm going to show you the baseline stats on all of the characters, what you need to be doing, how you should be playing, and anything that you need to do to get started. So we have 4 races in front of us. We have Thursar, back, I don't necessarily know all the names, but I'll read them to you. Alvarin, these are more for your mage type classes or dexterity rogues. You have Ogmir, which are made for crafting. They have high intelligence and high strength. They're made for crafting and mining. And you have your human, which are pretty, they're spread. You can do anything that you want to do with a human. For this tutorial, I'm going to be making a warrior. So I'm going to go with Thursar. Now, if you look down at the bottom of the screen here, you're going to see all the different stat types. And at the right of the screen, you have your races. Basically your mother's race, your grandfather's race, that kind of thing like that. Those change the stats of your character once you set them. So for instance, I picked Thursar and they already have a race locked on the left side, so you can't change that. But what I can change on this side is the secondary race. So I'll pick Kurite, because Kurite has the highest strength that I need right now. They have the constitution, they have the dexterity that I need. So, just to summarize, you need 100 dexterity to get the maximum speed out of a character that you want. That's something that a lot of people don't necessarily know. So when you're building a warrior type character and you want to stay on someone, when you're fighting them, you want to keep near them, you definitely want to keep 100 dexterity. For strength, the higher the strength that you have, the stronger weapons and heavier weapons you're going to be able to use. It also changes your total damage bonus, which is a really big deal as well. Constitution changes your health points and benefits such as movement speed. Same with the dexterity. Constitution also helps movement speed. 100 constitution will do the same thing as the dex will. Psych, this reduces the amount of damage that you take from magical spells, and it gives you a chance to resist them. It also increases your total amount of mana. And intelligence increases total amount of mana and gives you bonuses to like your spells and whatever you're running. So as you can see, I've got my health, I've got my mana, stamina. It shows me everything that I've got here. Either way, next. Now this part is the important part that you're going to be looking at for your character creation, because oops, hold on. Great. Anyway, size is a stat in game that you cannot change. Well, okay, you can change it, but it's going to be very, very hard for you to change. Now, size directly impacts your damage bonus, but it also slows your movement speed by a decent amount. So, for a warrior type, I am going to want to max this out, just because I'm going to want to hit hard, and I'm going to want to, just for PvE. And then your age changes a certain amount of stats as well, so for a really strong starting character, you're going to want to have 199 size. I usually go for dex to start so that I can move. Alright. And like I say, this one isn't my character, but it's for someone, so I don't remember what he said he wanted it to be named. We'll see. Just name that. Already taken. What the hell did he want? Let's just do 2. I don't even care. Alright, so I'm going to start it up, and I'm going to show you what you need to do right at the start. I'll run you through the tutorial so you understand what you need to be doing there. Some people get lost on it. It sucks, but I'll show you how to get out of it. And then I'll show you the base stats of all the classes, what they should be, what you want to be, where to get your books, anything that you need to know. So if I have this up on YouTube already, just skip through to find what you need. Until then, I'm streaming on Twitch, and I've got to wait. Lowkick will be coming in as well to help out. He knows a lot more about the crafting than I do. Now, we are by no means the best players in this game. We don't necessarily know everything yet. We just recently started playing, but we know enough to teach, and we're going to do that. Alright, so when you start, you got your WASD, space to jump, shift to sprint, all that stuff. Now, at the start, a lot of people are kind of they kind of feel bad because look at the movement speed. Like it's really slow. It just doesn't feel good. Now the reason is because your stats are low. Like I said before, you need to get your dexterity to 100 before you're going to be moving really quick, and your stamina is going to run out really fast, and it's just going to feel generally horrible. So bear with it, because it gets pretty damn quick. So right now, you talk to the first guy. He tells you to go talk to Lucas Lou over here. You get his quest. He's going to ask you to kill 2 boars, or no, like 3 or 4 boars, get their leather, and I'll show you how to do that. After you do that, he's going to ask you to go make a robe. You go make the robe, then you take it back. You go tame a bunny rabbit. Yes, tame a bunny rabbit. And then you go pick your class. Now, there is no... Everything in this game is freeform, so you can make whatever kind of class you want, but you need to be intelligent about what you do, and the reasoning is there is only 1,100 primary skill points. Now, primary skill points are skills that take... How can I explain this? They're parent skills. So what that means is, for instance, if I went and I got magic schools, or mental skills, mental training, there we go. If I went and got mental training, this will be a primary skill. That means that this skill, trained all the way to 100, would take 100 of my primary skill points. But then there's the secondary skills as well, like concentration and mental focus, that do not take skill points, but they can only level up to what the parent's maximum is. Therefore, if I leveled mental training up to 100, I could level my secondaries under mental training up to 100. So you got to be really smart with what you're doing, otherwise you're going to screw up your character. Now, you can reform these, and I'll show you how to do that as well. Yeah. Like if you were to click on, like if I was a warrior and I had axes, and it's a primary, and I don't want these axes, or I don't have the interface yet. I'll have to show you in just a second. Basically, you can level down the skills, so you can get your skill points back if you find something that you don't necessarily like. So you kill pig. You're gonna have to kill a few of these because you need 16 leather. Now the combat's fairly simple. You got your right click block, you got your left click attack. Depending on which direction you're moving with W, A, S, and D will determine where your sword starts swinging from. So see, if I hold A and I move this way, he pulls his arm to the left. If I were to move right and then attack, well that's me derping. It would attack from the right. If you hold Alt and then click, it's going to stab. This is really important in the game, as you can hit individual body parts on characters, which changes the amount of damage you deal based on what kind of armor they're wearing on that piece. So for instance, if I were to hit a guy who had a chest plate on and no pants, if I hit him in the legs, it'd do more damage. So here we go. So right when you get your, your pig carcass, you press L, which will open up your skill list. You want to find butchery, put it on your bar, open it up, put the resource in there, and extract. Now something you should know when you're extracting, you need to not move. If you move, you're going to lose your resources pretty much. So down in the bottom right corner here, you will see the extraction. It says you're currently extracting a resource. Once that's done, you'll see your leather and whatever else you got from the extraction put into here. So now, I've got my leather. I'm going to run back over here, talk to this guy. He's going to tell me to go make a robe. Then I go make a robe. What else can I tell you guys right now? Don't eat raw meat. You'll poison yourself. Done that many times. Like I say, I can't really show you much more until I get through the tutorial. You can just keep watching to see what you need to do in case you're confused. It's really simple though. Here's another thing. The flagging system. So let me explain that while I'm walking over to the table here. So in the game, when you highlight somebody, or something, for instance, like, I can't really get my cursor onto this pig here, but there's certain colors that it'll appear in text above your cursor so that you can see what the character is. Blue means innocent, gray means attackable, light gray means attackable, but they're globally allowed, so they'll be able to probably hit you as well, like a duel, for instance. Yellow means a new player. Red means murderer, which means that you're fucked if you don't know what you're doing. But the main point of what I'm trying to get at here, because a lot of newer players get tricked by this, is people will come out here and they'll tame these pigs, right? And you're trying to get these pigs for the leather. Now these pigs will be blue. As you look at this priest name, it's blue. If you hit the priest or the blue pig, you're going to get killed by a guard. So whatever you do, try to avoid hitting anything that's blue in this game. When you go to the graveyard, and I'm going to show you the graveyard here in a little bit, when you go to the graveyard, you're going to find that a lot of people are trying to sit there and block you with their body. So you hit them and you turn into a criminal, which allows them to kill you for free. And that's something called blue blocking, and you need to be very, very careful about this when you're a newer player, because people are going to try to shut you down. For instance, I started the tutorial. The tutorial guy gave me 50 cotton. If I were to get blue blocked right now and lose this cotton, I wouldn't be able to finish the tutorial. And that's happened to a few people, and they've asked me how to fix it, and I've told them, you know, you have to remake at that point, or get more cotton, which is damn near impossible. For a newer player, anyway. So, as you can see, we're getting over here to the tables. You can see where they are if you just watch the video. Go over here to the armor creation. Now, what it wants you to do is it wants you to make a torso and leggings. So what you need to do is you need to take this full grain leather, leave the sliders where they are. Now these sliders in a normal armor crafting situation would change the amount of material that you use in the slot to make it a better item. So you would up the costs to make a better item. Now the crafting is really cool in this game because you can make anything out of anything. Like for instance, I could skin a player and take his hide and make a weapon out of it if I felt like it. You know, it wouldn't be very strong, but I could use his bones and weapon to make it. Now you make this heavy robe torso, you make these heavy robe leggings, you put them on, you walk back out to the guy, you return to Lugaslu as it says. Now he's going to send you off to another person who's going to teach you how to tame in case you want to be a tamer. This is basically trying to teach you all of the basics within the game so that you can know what you're doing by the time you get out. Now it's not very effective, and you know that's why I'm making a video, is to show you what you should be doing. But I mean, it gets you on track. Kind of gives you an idea what you want to be. The melee combat's actually really nice in this game, so being a warrior is pretty fun. Magery is a little weird. It's kind of buggy right now, so it's still pretty strong though. There is mounted combat, since that guy ran by, might as well say that. And mounted combat's actually very, very strong in this game. So depending on what you want to be, you gotta figure it out. Like I say, if you check out our channel, or add me in-game, or Brad Lowkick in-game, we'll be able to teach you guys whatever you need to know. We'll also be making a guild really soon, try and combat all the damn griefers. Either way, almost back to where I need to be. Now tamers in this game, that's another thing that you guys might want to know about. Tamers are really cool because of the way it works. Basically, you would get your taming level up through books, which I'll teach you about here in a minute, book system. You would go tame whatever creatures in the world that you could, and generally there's not anything that you can't tame. From what I've noticed so far, there really isn't much that you can't tame. So you would go tame these things, you could take them back to town, put them in the stables, whatever you're doing, and then you can breed these animals to make more, and you can sell them on the auction house, or you can use them as pets. Now, the pet system works like this. So you have a certain amount of pet points that you have per creature control point that you have. So, for instance, I've got 100 pet points. I've got a dog. This dog costs 20 pet points. Technically, if I have herding maxed, then I can have 4 dogs. So the pet system works in the way that you can actually have more than one, which is pretty cool, because most games lock you to 1 pet. And they do a lot of damage, and they're really good for PvE grinding. Oh, look at that. But I gotta say, the AI isn't very good at fighting in PvP. If you're going to be a PvP tamer, you have to be half mage as well to be able to survive. And generally mounted. Anyway, we're working our way up this little mountain. The arrow doesn't really show you exactly where you gotta go. See, like you just saw, you gotta go up that little mountain to the side. You head up here. I'm gonna have to Okay, you talk to him. He says, go tame a bunny rabbit. So you open up your skill list again, which is L, once again. You open this up, and you find taming now, because now it's in your little skill actions thing. You find it, you put it on your bar. You walk over to one of these little rabbit shits here. You just press 2, or whatever button you put it on. It'll sit there. Now, same thing as extracting. You can move, but if you get out of range, it's not going to work. So just kind of sit there for a minute. Once the buff goes down, little rabbit. Alright, he's going to run off and do his thing. Ooh. Hey. Alright, there's Lowkick right there. Look at his name. If anybody needs any help, feel free to add Mr. Master and ask him any questions. There are no servers on this game. There's one server, so that means that, you know, we're always going to be on the same server as you guys if you need any help. He's a armor crafter as well, so if you need any armor, just ask him. I'm a weapon crafter. We can get y'all set up.
But Velleas, what if I wanted to mine or cut wood?
What a dick. Okay, so basically if you want to be a miner or cut wood, that's not something that the tutorial's going to show you, and I'm going to explain it to you once I get out to the Captain of the Guard. So, once you finish taming the little rabbit, they're going to ask you to go to the Captain of the Guard. Now, the Captain of the Guard is going to be able to give you a starter set of skills. These, you aren't picking your class. Essentially, you're just getting starter skills that are letting you jump right into the game, you know, go kill things, do whatever you need to do. It's not going to be set in stone if you pick this, so don't worry about it when you're picking it. You don't have to remake your character a million times. You know, a lot of people I know do that, and it's a problem. So, you know, the only time I would recommend remaking your character is if you want different stats on the race, because that is a really big deal. For instance, this guy that I'm playing right now, which isn't my own character, by the way, he couldn't be a mage. He just couldn't. There's no way he could. He would be awful. He would just be awful. And the reason is because if you look in here, I've got low intelligence. It's got a cap. Now, here's the thing I need to teach as well. So, if you look right here, you've got your strength, dexterity, intelligence, psych, constitution, size, all that stuff that we've had before. We already know about that. But here's the thing that you should notice. Okay, so you've got an attribute point limit right here. This is a limit of how many you can put into these extra. So, and that'll go down as you level them. But the secondary number here in the brackets, whatever you want to call it, is the maximum you can have. So you need to keep that in mind when you're making your character, and you can lose these points as well, so that you can reform it if you need to. For instance, I would want the 110 strength, and I would want the 100, exactly 100 dexterity, and then I'd want to max the constitution, while I would also want to minus the intelligence. See, look, if you click on it, it changes the symbol, which will change how it works. So for instance, if I put a minus on the intelligence and the psych, it's going to level down the psych and intelligence when it needs points to put them into dex, strength, or constitution. Now, depending on what kind of a character you're being, you know, you're going to have to make a decision of what you want. You don't want to do that if you're a mage. That would be stupid. So, let's look here. You have something called hunger. You need to eat every once in a while. Try not to eat poisonous foods. When you highlight a food type, it will tell you if it's poisonous or not. I would recommend picking up cooking. It's secondary. It doesn't cost you anything. Just lets you cook your food. What's that, Brett?
Why do I see a lot of people that are taller than you?
Size? What? You aren't taller than me. You suck.
Oh, we're talking about size.
Okay, so the size, I already told him about the size. The size bonus affects your damage bonus directly. So for instance, I have -6 right now. That's because my strength is low. On here. Keep screwing up my strength. Basically, that's just going to change the amount of damage you do and the movement speed that you have. For instance, I'm a lot bigger than Mr. Master. He is a smaller warrior, but he's quick. And he's got high strength. He also started as a slag hauler, which is a miner. Okay, so I'm going to teach you guys about the different skill sets here. So we've got the fighter type, we've got the sword fighter. Swords are generally pretty damn awesome at everything that they do. They're going to be good at PvP, they're going to be good at PvE. They're just all around good weapons, and most weapons are. This game isn't so unbalanced that they don't have nice weapon sets. So we're going to look at Axe Fighter here. So Axe Fighter would be your more PvE, in my opinion. You would get kind of a poleaxe build for this kind of guy. And if you built him properly, you could probably do some really good PvP as well. Mace Fighter clubs are generally really nice for mounted combat, and they're really nice for blunt damage, which does a higher amount of damage to armor. Because blunt, as you know from any other video game, generally, blunt does more damage to armor. Piercing Spear Fighter. Spear Fighter is really nice for PvP, and the reason is you've got this range with this perfect precision of your stabbing that'll stop you from hitting things that you don't want to hit, because, you know, in a lot of these big fights you're trying not to hit the people that you're with, you know, because you're going to turn into a criminal if you do so, unless you're in a guild. So spears, in my opinion, are going to be the best thing that you need for PvP. Scout, these are going to be using bows, you know, doing your general range thing. Bows in this game would be more like a sniper rifle, and what I mean by that is they are the longest range thing that you can do in the game, depending on what your strength value is, not dexterity. Depending on what your strength value is, changes how well you can pull back the bowstring. Now, the bowstring... How can I explain this? Basically, there's two types of bows. There's going to be a long bow and a short bow. The long bow is super long range, as long as you're good enough to aim it and fire it. The short bow is going to be your more close range. You know, you can move while you're using it rather than drain your entire stamina bar. And mounted. Mounted archery is probably one of the strongest things in this game right now. Basically, you'd get on a mount, you'd get your short bow, you would, you know, fight on a mount. You just ride off, charge your bow, turn around, shoot at people, do whatever you need. That is a really strong PvP set right now, but it will not work in close quarters. And if you get caught, you are dead. So, Acolyte. This isn't the Acolyte the mage? Yes, okay. Acolyte is the mage. This is the only class that can heal. Mages can heal, they can heal quite a bit, they can do a crap ton of damage, they can also do mounted magery, but the downside of mounted magery is it takes twice as long to cast a spell while you're on the back of a mount, and you can only ride in a straight line while casting a spell. That makes it a little harder to control, but it does a lot of damage, and it's all true damage based off of the fact that it goes through armor. This does not get reduced by any armor. The only thing that can reduce magic damage that I know of, so don't quote me on this, is Psych. So magic is really fun. I have a mage. It's one of my favorite characters. Apprentice. This is smithing, or, you know, crafting. So you would do weaponsmith, armorsmith, bowyer. Kinda speaks for itself. I'll do an in-depth crafting tutorial later. But we're not really running through that right now. So just look for that. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'll answer it in Twitch. Or in-game. Tamer and breeder. Kinda speaks for itself. You know, you tame your monsters, you breed your monsters, you fight with the monsters. Downside to taming right now is healing your monsters. It's really hard to heal your pets. The only way to heal them right now is to either have a little bit of magery, enough to be able to heal them, or you have to feed them health potions, which is a little weird. And they'll heal over time as well. So basically taming, for instance, you go get a dog, right? This dog has a level, kind of like Pokemon. This level goes up if your pet's loyalty is above 800. And I'll do a tamer tutorial later as well. Then you've got your slag hauler, which is a miner or wood chopper. This guy runs around outside of town, mines rocks, mines wood, refines it, turns it into the steels and everything that the armor crafters need. This character is absolutely needed in everything. Without these guys, you wouldn't even have armor in this game because it's all player made. The only armor that's not player made is the Nubius stuff that the vendors will sell you. And that's okay, but it's nothing like a plate set or anything that a player can make. So we're going to pick a spear fighter. We're going to equip the shield. Good lord. Equip the spear. Now, here's where I'm going to teach you about books. Books are something that level your skills passively while you're online or offline. Books are also something that you need as a gateway to get a skill. Therefore, my character can't use magic or mental training or any of this until I went and got the book. Now, pay attention to where we are. So you just left that little spot. You just left the guard. Now, right when you walk out here, I need to teach you guys this because a lot of people don't understand that. Right over there, where I'm looking, is the small little market. This is going to have your regent vendor. This is going to have your cooking vendor. This is going to have your furnace, as you can see to... Hold on, I'm going to move a little bit so you can see it.
Be back right.
There's a furnace right there. There's wood vendor. There's a bunch of vendors over there that you're going to need eventually. So just make sure to note that. Right here, your bounty heralds. These guys are more for high tier players. You'll understand what they are if you play the game for long enough, because they're really for like top tier bosses and things like that. And then you have, look, if you leave the tutorial zone, which is right back there. If you come straight across, this is the library. Now, here's something you need to know. If you don't know where the library is, you're going to have hell of a time because, I mean, you need the books to learn your skills that you need to keep going. Now, one thing that I need to warn you guys of before we get over to the library is if you see anybody in kind of a lesser clothing, and what I mean is, like, for instance, they're naked or they have no shirt on, they're just kind of running around, look kind of naked, and they're kind of running around you, they may be stealing from you. So what you need to do when they're stealing from you, here, I'm just going to show you guys real quick. You pull out your weapon, which is X, and you hold right click, which is block, and you push them with left click. Now what this does is if they've snooped in your pockets and if they've stole something from you, and you push them, they'll turn into a criminal, which will make it so the guards will kill them and you can loot them and take your stuff back. You can only loot a player body if it's gray. If you loot it when it's blue, you're going to die because the guard will kill you. If you're in town. If you're outside of town, you can gank whoever you want, do whatever you want. And I mean, technically, you could kill people in town, but I mean, you know, that's going to be pretty risky. So if you look in here, it's got all the books, or most of the books in the games, I should say, that you're going to need to get started. So for instance, you could type in anything you want in here, like if I press L, it'll pull up my skill list, and I want to go into melee combat, and I want to find like combat techniques. Is that the one I want? Combat maneuvering.
I'd highly
armor training.
recommend you guys get reading.
Yeah, reading is something you should really get. It's a book called Reading. Now, for instance, I'm going to buy armor training so that you guys can see how this works. I bought this book. Now, I can read this book, but you can only have one book going at a time. You can tell if a book is going by highlighting it down in the corner. Now, you can cancel this book when you need to. Like, for instance, most books, and some books train higher, so remember to pay attention to what you're doing. Most books can only train to level 70. So, if my spears, for instance, which it won't take, like it says down here, it says 2 days and 17 hours, 35 minutes, whatever. It's not going to take that long, right, to get the spears all the way up to level 70. So once this book trained it all the way up to level 70, I would want to cancel the book and switch the book out to something else. Now, here's something of a prerequisite that you need to know. For instance, I wanted to do armor training. I picked up this book called Armor Training. I cannot read this book, and the reason I can't read this book isn't because I'm already training spears. Yeah, I know it said that. But because I don't have the prerequisites for the book. So if I go into armor training and I click on it, it says seek knowledge of this subject in a book, requires combat maneuvering 50 and athletics 50. So until I can read this book, I have to get combat movement and combat maneuvering, which is right here. And then I have to get, what was the other one I just said, Brad?
Combat, I don't know, maneuvering and something else.
Athletics.
Athletics, yeah.
Which would be under, hell, I don't know where it is. It's in here somewhere. Agility, there we go, athletics. So that would have to be 50 as well. And these books costed, you know, a decent amount of money for a newer player, so that's going to be pretty difficult for you to do. So what we're going to do is I'm going to teach you a little bit about what you need to do as a starting warrior or anyone with combat stats. And the game is going to stutter a little bit for you guys when you first start playing, I'm just letting you know. I could run this at a higher frame rate, but I'm windowed mode to kind of teach you while I'm looking at Twitch chat. So, that's a MOBA. You should probably be afraid of those. Until later, anyway. Then they're free loot. So you go in here, this is the bank. If you're paying attention to where we're going. You want to deposit anything you don't want to lose in there. Because if you die in this game, it is a full loot game, you will lose absolutely everything that you have on you. Even your weapons, your armor, everything. So now, I just want to make sure you guys understand where we are. This is kind of the big strip. This is where everything is. You'll see a crap ton of players here. You came from that direction over there. You came from northeast. So, if you come this way, and look for this tower, look for this sign that says graveyard, and I'm just showing you how to get started. you go over to the graveyard. And inside the graveyard, you're going to find your skeletons and your little zombies. Now, when you kill these, you're going to want to loot only the head, because the heads sell for a lot of money. And the heads are going to be what you're going to get most of your cash off for a little bit. Now, the guy you want to sell the heads to is right here. This cooking vendor right here. This guy, he buys them. You can sell him to any vendor, but it's just best because he's really close to the graveyard. At least in my opinion. And always bank your cash really fast, because thieves are sticking their fingers in your pockets trying to take it. The thing that you guys also need to know is this game is very rough. This game is going to frustrate you, but it's worth it. It's a lot of fun. I really enjoy it. It's got a lot of freedoms to it, but I'm going to teach you a couple tricks in the graveyard right now that you're probably going to need to know. Tabbing out for just a second. Oh. People are actually watching it. Cool. Anyway. So, there is... First...
Is GUT still alive?
Is what?
GUT, the guild.
Guts? Yes, Guts is alive still. And they are frustrating. Sorry, Guts. You've killed me too many times. Now, something I need to teach you guys. So, if you look up here at your... God, what is it? Health bar. I'm going to pull it down so you can see it. You're going to have little grayed out portions of your bar. Now, this is from using your stats too much. You have a thing called reserves, and the only way to get your reserves back is to rest through sleeping. So, for instance, I've been running too much, so my stamina bar is getting lower. Now, the higher strength that I get, higher dexterity that I get, higher constitution that I get, all of that is going to affect how fast that goes down. Now, it's not going to once I'm maxed out. Your health, same thing. If you die, you're going to get a little bit of gray off of it. Mana, same thing. If you use too much spells, you're going to get a little bit of gray. So, moral of the story is, before you go into combat, before you do anything special, you're going to want to find a safe spot, and I'm going to explain this very thoroughly. And, like, for instance, I'm going to put the sleep... Come on. Well, I bugged out the sleep button. Does it work? Great. Hold on. There we go. You put sleep on your bar, you go find a bush or something where you're not going to get instantly ganked, and you press the button. Now your character's going to lay down and he's going to go to sleep, and slowly these bars are going to come back to full. You really need these bars to be full before you go in and do anything, because it's, you know, you're going to get your ass kicked if you don't. So generally you're going to want to just rest up before you go into combat. I mean, I've said that a million times. It's pretty simple. Like I said before, the blue blocking thing, people, when you're fighting these skeletons, they're going to try to get in front of you. They're going to try to make you hit them. So you need to be very careful of what you're doing. When you charge your weapon up, before you attack, you need to think, okay, is there anyone? Are they going to run in front of me? You know, look around. If there's nobody, you're good. And, you know, you're not going to have to look around all the time. Just check every 10 seconds or so to make sure that nobody's running up on you. I'm going to teach you about the parry system. The way the parry system works is you can block in a direction the same way that you can attack in a direction. And when you block perfectly at the right time, in the same direction that your enemy is swinging, you will block most of the damage, depending on your blocking skill. And you will get the ability to instantly left-click again, which will double your attack speed. Sometimes triple, depending on what kind of a weapon you're using. So, if my opponent's coming in, he's swinging to my left, I block to my left, and then I instantly left-click, I'm gonna attack at twice the speed and do more damage. Much, much more damage.
I don't know if it's me, but it's just black. Are you sleeping?
Yeah, I'm sleeping.
Okay. What is?
We've only been playing for a month, but we're very quick at learning, and we do tutorials and things like that for video games, various games that we play. So we decided to get on Mortal and try to teach people based off of the fact that I haven't seen any good tutorials. So there's kind of a need for it.
What are you sleeping at?
Bush. Told you, safe. TV/Velleas. We're also going to be...
It?
What? Am I not watching what?
You're still on stream?
No. I'm typing right now. I'm trying to get more people to come watch. This will be on YouTube as well. Like I said, we're going to cut it up and make it a little bit easier to pay attention to. We're going to do in-depth guides for every single class. Whatever you want to do in this game, we're going to have it. That'll only take us a couple days. Like I say, so I've rested enough. I'm here to teach you guys. This isn't my main anyway. Might as well just get in here and show you what's up. Okay, so look, if I highlight this bag, if we pay attention, it is a player's loot, but it's gray. Therefore, anything in this is free game. We can loot it. We won't turn into any criminal. We won't be free to kill. Now, if his name was Blue, we would turn into a criminal, and that would be a problem. That would be a very big problem. Because anyone that's a criminal is free to kill by other players and guards. Now, with a spear, you're going to want to generally just do stabbing attacks. At least that's what I do, personally. I could be wrong. Maybe there's somebody who's better at it, you know. But I know for a fact that this is how I do it, and this is how I've found it to be effective over the time of my playing. So, you kill the walkers, like I said. You do want the Cooprum. I usually get the Cooprum, especially if you're a newer player. Get the Walking Dead heads. Now, open your inventory, which is I, and I'm going to show you something some people don't necessarily understand. So, the first number right here, this is how much weight is in your bag. The second number right here, 32, is the amount. Look, this guy's pushing me. He's already going to show me. Okay, the second amount is how much you can carry comfortably. The third amount is how much you can carry in total. If you get above the 65 limit, you're not going to be moving anymore. You're going to be over encumbered to the point where you cannot even walk. So you want to be really careful on what you're doing. So, when you first come into the graveyard, and you're a newer player, like I said, watch for people. There's Brad. He's not going to do anything. See, this is blue blocking right here. What he's doing, he's trying to cut in front. If I were to attack again, I'd have turned gray and died. Watch out, Brad. It's something that's frustrating, I understand, and it's something that will generally only happen in this first city. So you won't have to worry about it in many other places. I recommend, if you want help, to add me or Brad in-game. Lowkick, Mr. Masters, so that we can help you. We're really into helping in this game. We'd rather not be the trolls that, you know, there's plenty of. But anyway, back to what we're doing. So you get these, well, okay, so there's a bug. This is something you should know about. A lot of people know about this, and if you're new, it could be pretty frustrating. Sometimes the bags will fall through the floor, and what that means is it's just a client-side error. The server still knows that the bag is on the floor, so once the server finally does an update, the bag will be right back where it needs to be. This only seems to happen in this graveyard. Every other graveyard I've ever been to, it doesn't do it. So just keep in mind, if it falls through the floor, just sit there for a minute. It'll pop up. And you want to fill your inventory in weight. The 33, if you look on my inventory here, I've got 33 weight that I could fill up. I'd get 33 weight in heads, and then I go sell it. Now, I'm not going to do that for sake of your poor little eyes, because that'd be boring. But, this is almost to conclude the warrior tutorial so far that we're doing. We're going to do PvP tutorials as well to try to teach you things like that. Now, for instance, this guy named Steel. I know for a fact, I mean his name, you look at his name's Steel. He is a known thief, so you watch him, and you push him. He's not a thief right now. You know, a lot of these people you're going to come to know who they are, and you're going to know what the guilds are. And a lot of people that come into this graveyard are going to try to troll you. They're really trying to... They're bored. Face it, they're bored. They're just trying to mess around. Try not to get too mad at them. You know, they're going to mess with your gaming experience. They're going to kind of screw with you a little bit, but you'll be fine.
So basically, once you leave the Tindrum, which is this town, you don't really have the blue blockers or people messing with you. You just have the people trying to kill you.
Exactly, and that's another thing that you guys should be wary of. A lot of people are going to tell you, leave Tindrum, leave Tindrum, leave Tindrum. I agree to a certain point that leaving Tindrum's nice, but leaving Tindrum when you're a newer player and you don't really know what you're doing or where you're going, it can be hell. I would recommend you stay in Tindrum, go to Graveyard, kill a bunch of zombies, get your skills up. Once your skills are high enough and you've got kind of a baseline of knowing what you're doing, then leave Tindrum. Then get out of here. Because if you leave too early, you're just going to get frustrated trying to travel. Because face it, look at my movement speed right now, right? I maxed Dex when I was sitting in the character creator, and I'm still just, ugh. You're going to want to just level this all up first. And like I said, if you guys need any help, feel free to message us in-game. This is not my main. as I've said before. So this won't be the character I help you on, but... If anyone has any questions, I mean, feel free to ask in Twitch. Lowkick, the other guy you hear in here, is...
Seals looking through your pockets.
He's looking... Is he? He's looking through and watching the chat. Somebody giving me gold. See, but I think he stole it. So, you can trade stolen items. Actually, I'm not sure on this, so don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure you can trade stolen items. Because every time I see steal, he comes up to me with something, and he gives me an item. And I think he's handing me stolen items. And when they're stolen, they make you a criminal if somebody pushes you. So it makes you a hidden criminal. I think. I could be wrong, as I said before. If anyone has any corrections, feel free to... You know what? I'm just going to take this gold and see what it does. Nope, not stolen, but he's going to try to take it from me.
If it's stolen, it'll tell you. So.
I think he's watching the stream. Anyway. Alright, so now that we've got a couple of these heads, I'm going to take them back and I'm going to show you where to sell them and what you should generally be doing. So, if you are trying to level your athletics and your combat movement, keep your weapon out while you're walking or sprinting, whatever you're doing. It's going to level it faster. If you are leveling armor training, for instance, if you want your armor level to go up. Ooh, armor level, that's something I didn't teach yet. No barking. Hey! Cheyenne. Hold on, we gotta bark. They might go crazy. Anyway, back to this. Your armor level. So we scroll down here, and to equipment, you're going to see something called armor weight. Depending on what your armor training level is and your heavy armor training level, this changes the amount of weight that you can carry. This is also affected by strength to a minor degree. Now, if you want to level this, what you do is you wear armor heavier than what you can wear, after you've read the book, of course, to unlock the skill. And you walk with your weapon out. You put on like really heavy plate and you walk with your weapon out. You can even auto run if you want with number lock. And that'll level your armor training. So, right, we walk over to this cooking vendor here, we talk to him, we throw this up into the selling to vendor, and look, that's 40 silver. That's not a bad amount of money for a new player. You know, so you throw it in there, and I mean, you would grind for a lot longer than I just did, for instance. You'd get, you know, 20 of them, something around there. And then right when you're done, I can't stress this enough, and I mean, Steel can probably vouch for this, you want to instantly go bank your cash. Because if you don't bank your cash, you're going to have a really bad time. So, the way stealing works is depending on the weight of the item, it depends how much skill they require to pick it up. Thieves cannot pick up weapons or anything over 1.5 weight. Now what this means is, generally, if you have a choice, you want all of your money to be in silver. Because gold is too easy to loot. Now that's really hard to do, and I personally don't do it as often, and I should, because, you know, I lose a lot of my stuff for it. Oh, what do you need, Brad? Do you trade me? Okay. But generally, like I say, if you can, keep your money in silver. I'm going to teach you guys a little bit about the trade broker so that you can understand another way to make money. So you open up this trade broker. It's always going to freeze. It's just what it does. Don't know why. Don't judge it. Just love it. At the top, you're going to see Browse, Buy Order, Sell, and Status. You want to click on Buy Orders. Now in here, these are things that people have requested to be bought. Right? These guys want to buy this amount of thing, and they will pay, for instance, this granum pile. He wants 80,000 of the granum pile. He will pay 4 cuprum per piece of granum pile. So if I were to get 10,000 granum, this guy would pay me 4 gold for it. Granum is something you mine. It's something that you can go out and get. Now, here's the thing for the warriors that you should know. So, look up Razorbacks or Springbok. Razorback carcass, 80,000 for 1 cuprum per piece. Now, every Razorback corpse is 10,000. So technically, you're getting a gold per kill. Look at this guy right here in chat. Buying all Razorback carcass stacks at 2 gold. Mail to me. Pay on delivery. So, you know, it's a really good way to make money once you're done killing skeletons. You're going to want to use a mount to do that, though, and I'll explain why. So I'm going to show you how to get a mount real quick, in case you don't know how. So you open up your trade broker, and you go all the way down to the bottom. Sometimes it's a little buggy with the drop-down menu. Click Pet Receipts, and you look in here. You click Cost, because you really don't want to buy anything overpriced. And you look for donkeys.